The Millionaire Mind by Thomas J. Stanley, Ph.D. Let me tell you about Gene. This guy made his living in the salvage business, buying up foreclosed properties when people's dreams went belly up. Houses, shopping centers, apartment buildings that folks just couldn't hang on to anymore. So one day, Gene closes this massive deal, right? And this senior bank executive walks him over to this floor-to-ceiling window in his top-floor office. The view, absolutely stunning. They're looking out over miles and miles of cityscape, buildings, homes, businesses stretching to the horizon. The banker gazes out at all those buildings glittering in the distance and drops this bombshell on Gene. He says, "We own it all, every single bit of it. All those businesses out there, you borrowers, you're just running them for us. You guys are basically our operators, working for the financial institutions." Let that marinate for a second. How many people do you know who look successful on the outside, cruising around in luxury cars, living in those enormous houses, but they're really just working themselves to death making payments to someone else? They've got the costume of wealth, but debt is pulling their strings. They're hamsters on a wheel, desperately trying to keep pace with the lifestyle they think they're supposed to be living. But here's the thing. There's this other group of people, much smaller, way quieter. Nobody controls them. Sure, they live in beautiful homes, but they're not drowning in monster mortgages. They're genuinely free, financially speaking. They enjoy life without being slaves to spending. These are the folks with what researcher Dr. Thomas J. Stanley calls the millionaire mind. After his first book, The Millionaire Next Door, became a massive hit, selling millions of copies and blowing everyone's minds by showing that most millionaires actually live pretty modest lives. Drive. Stanley went deeper. He wanted to crack the code on not just what they did, but how they actually thought. So he surveyed over 700 millionaires, peppering them with hundreds of questions about their beliefs, habits, fears, and keys to success. The result? The Millionaire Mind. This isn't some dry finance book. It's really about character. It's a roadmap for building a life of freedom, integrity, and genuine purpose. And here's my promise to you. By the time we're done today, you'll understand the 5 foundational pillars that nearly every self-made millionaire credits for their success. These aren't the Hollywood versions you see in movies or hear about on the news. No hot stock tips. No sketchy get-rich-quick schemes. This is about developing a mindset that creates wealth naturally, as a side effect of living well. So, let's dive into what it really means to have a millionaire mind. If the millionaire life isn't about oversized mortgages and flashy sports cars, then who are these people exactly? When Dr. Stanley pulled back the curtain, he didn't find some Wall Street shark or Hollywood celebrity. The typical millionaire he surveyed? A 54-year-old guy, married to the same woman for 28 years, with 3 kids. 92% were married. Most of them? Rock-solid, traditional families. Here's where it gets really interesting. Most of them built everything from scratch. 61% never got a single dollar of inheritance. 0 financial gifts. No trust funds. They started with absolutely nothing. They didn't marry into money. They didn't hit the lottery. They constructed their wealth piece by piece, over decades. They live in nice homes, sure, but not the sprawling estates you might picture. The typical millionaire in the study bought their home over a decade ago, usually in a solid upper-middle-class neighborhood. And here's the critical difference from that banker's worldview. Most of them have little to no mortgage debt. They actually own their homes, their cars, and their businesses. They're not grinding away for the bank. The bank doesn't even cross their minds most days. Dr. Stanley calls these people the balance sheet affluent. They're laser-focused on net worth, what they own minus what they owe. This is completely different from the income statement affluent. Those folks pulling in big paychecks, but also racking up huge expenses, massive debts, with basically nothing to show for it at the end of the day. The income statement affluent look wealthy. The balance sheet affluent actually are wealthy. That's the fundamental difference that changes everything. So how'd they pull it off? How'd they become balance sheet affluent in just one generation? Dr. Stanley went straight to the source. He gave them a list of 30 potential success factors and asked them to rank importance. Their answers? They're the heart of this entire book, and honestly, they might completely flip your understanding of success. What do you think topped the list? Being a genius? Graduating from an elite university? Killer stock picks? Dumb luck? Nope, none of those. Here are the top 5 factors for their economic success. First, being honest with all people, pure integrity. Second, being well-disciplined. Rock-solid self-control. Third, getting along with people, social intelligence. Fourth, having a supportive spouse. Fifth, working harder than most people. Take a moment with that. These aren't financial strategies or investment tricks. They're character traits. They're virtues. This is the first massive lesson of the millionaire mind. Wealth flows naturally from strong character. Let's unpack that first one. Integrity. Being honest with everyone. 57% of millionaires rated this as absolutely critical, tying it for the #1 spot. In business and life, your reputation is everything. John Barry, one millionaire, shared what his father taught him: never tell one lie. Because if you tell one lie, you'll eventually need 15 more just to cover up that first one. And then each of those 15 needs another 15. The math spirals out of control fast. It's honestly just more efficient to always tell the truth. People with integrity get trusted. They attract the best clients, the most loyal employees, the strongest partnerships. You can't build lasting wealth on a foundation of lies. The second pillar? Discipline. This is the engine driving everything. It's doing what needs doing, when it needs doing, whether you feel like it or not. It's the self-control to live below your means, to save and invest, instead of blowing money on stuff that loses value. It's staying focused on your goals year after year, even when it's tough. Where does luck fall on this list? Way down at number 27 out of 30. These millionaires would tell you they make their own luck. As one famously put it, the harder I work, the luckier I get. They don't sit around waiting for lottery tickets to transform their lives. They build their lives one disciplined choice at a time. Third pillar, social skills, getting along with people. Nobody achieves real success alone. There's this wonderful story Dr. Stanley tells about legendary football coach Paul Bear Bryant. One of his former players, now a successful executive, remembered his first day as a freshman at Alabama. Coach Bryant gathered all the new scholarship players and asked them something unexpected. "Have you called your folks yet to thank them?" The players were stunned. They expected a speech about drills or expectations. But the coach's message cut deep. He said, "No one ever got to this level without help from others." That applies to football, and it applies to life. Success is a team sport. Your ability to connect with people, lead them, inspire them, and earn their respect matters way more than individual genius. This includes selling your ideas, not just products, but your vision, your plans, your dreams. A brilliant salesman named Billy Gilmore demonstrated this perfectly. He was helping Dr. Stanley with a corporate seminar. Before the event, Billy discovered the national sales manager's wife's jeans size. But here's the clever part. He had a dozen custom pairs made for her, with labels saying, quote, "size 8 inches, 2 sizes smaller than her actual size." The note said they were from Dr. Stanley. The manager was thrilled his wife was so happy that the entire seminar became a massive success, generating business for Dr. Stanley for years. Billy understood something fundamental. It's not about you, it's about making others feel good. As his mother taught him, me is dull, dull, dull. The fourth pillar, having a supportive spouse, is like a force multiplier. 8 out of 10 millionaires said this was crucial. Your choice of life partner is the most important decision you'll ever make. It's not about marrying for money. Actually, most millionaires chose their spouses long before wealth entered the picture. They chose partners who shared their values: honesty, responsibility, love, capability, and support. Think about Paulette Rakestraw, who started a direct mail business from her apartment as a young, divorced mom. She met her husband Vaughn, and what attracted her wasn't money. It was how caring he was and how he treated her daughter. He was a saver, she was a risk-taker. He encouraged caution, she pushed for action. Together, they built a powerhouse partnership and a company serving Fortune 500 clients. Their differences didn't divide them. They balanced each other out. A supportive spouse believes in you, especially when you doubt yourself, and shares your long-term vision. Finally, there's hard work. This isn't about becoming a workaholic who sacrifices family and health. It's about focused, efficient, passionate effort. 47% of millionaires said working harder than most people was crucial. But listen to this. Even more, 51% of business owners said loving my career or business was key to success. When you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a calling. It's labor fueled by love. So we've got our 5 pillars: integrity, discipline, social skills, a supportive spouse, and hard work. But now comes the most shocking discovery in the millionaire mind, the one that completely flips our entire understanding of success on its head. It's about school. What if I told you that graduating at the top of your class has almost zero to do with becoming a millionaire? In fact, for some people it might actually be a disadvantage. How's that possible? The data doesn't lie. The average undergraduate GPA for millionaires in this study? 2.92 on a 4.0 scale. Average SAT score? 1190. That's respectable, sure, but it's not genius territory. It wouldn't even get you into the most elite schools. Get this. Only 11% of millionaires said, quote, graduating near the top of my class was crucial to their success. Only 15% said attending a top-rated college mattered much, and just 20% thought having a high IQ or superior intellect was a key factor. This is mind-blowing. Everything we're told about success, get perfect grades, ace those tests, go to the best school, is according to people who've actually achieved massive financial success, not the main story at all. So what's really going on? Dr. Stanley tells the story of James X Patrick. In 3rd grade, his teacher, Sister Eileen, divided the class into 3 groups: smart kids in front, average kids in the middle, and the dumb kids in back. James got stuck in the back row. Why? Bad penmanship and lousy spelling. Today, Dr. James X Patrick holds a PhD and owns 3 businesses worth millions. He still can't spell great. He jokes, with a laugh, I must have been the smartest kid in the dumb row. His story reveals something crucial. The school system rewards a very narrow type of intelligence, what we might call analytical intelligence, the kind measured by standardized tests. It rewards conformity, memorization, following rules. But the real world, the world of business and innovation, rewards different intelligence. Dr. Stanley points to psychologist Robert Sternberg's work, which defines successful intelligence as having 3 parts: analytical intelligence, the book smarts schools measure, creative intelligence spotting new solutions and opportunities, and practical intelligence common sense, or street smarts. Millionaires might have average GPAs, but they're off the charts in creative and practical intelligence. They spot opportunities others completely miss. They question authority. They think differently from the crowd. Warren Bielke is a perfect example. Average student, but went on to become a millionaire by getting involved in starting and financing 7 different medical device companies. He believes so strongly in average students that he created a $1 million scholarship fund at his old high school, specifically for students with average grades, good attendance, and positive attitudes. Why? He says the smart kids, sometimes it's too easy for them. Sometimes they miss opportunities because they don't have to get involved and work so hard. The average kids get involved and come across more opportunities. For many of these millionaires, not being labeled intellectually gifted was actually a blessing. It taught them something vital early. Hard work beats raw talent. They learned they'd have to outwork, out-hustle, and outthink the competition. Being told you're not good enough either defeats you or forges unbreakable determination. For people with the millionaire mind, it became rocket fuel. 72% of millionaires who scored under 1,000 on their SATs said a key experience was learning to fight for our goals because someone labeled us as having average or less ability. This brings us to the next critical concept: vocation, vocation, vocation. What you choose to do for a living is one of your most important decisions. Dr. Stanley uses a brilliant military history metaphor to explain this. During World War II, there were two fighter pilot aces, Paul Rossman and Eric Hartmann, with a unique strategy. Most pilots engaged in dogfights, chaotic, close-range battles, where physical strength and nerves were everything. But Rossman had an injured arm. He couldn't survive dogfights, so he developed something different. He'd study the battlefield, analyze targets carefully, and only attack when he had decisive advantage. He substituted calculation for brute force. He taught this method to his protege, Hartmann, who became the ace of aces, with 352 confirmed victories, more than anyone in history. The lesson? Where you choose to fight matters more than how hard you fight. Lots of smart, talented people jump into crowded, hyper-competitive fields, the dogfights. They become one of thousands of lawyers, MBAs, or corporate managers, all competing for a handful of top positions. But millionaires with creative intelligence do what Rossman did. They find a niche. They look for business opportunities with strong demand, but few suppliers. They don't follow the crowd. They create their own market. This is Mr. Richard's story. He grew up upper middle class, went to prep school. You'd think he'd become a doctor or lawyer. Instead, he owns a junkyard for 18-wheeler truck parts in the Deep South. Why? While working for a truck company, he noticed they sold a wrecked truck to a junk dealer for $500. That junk dealer sold just the engine back to them for $500. A light bulb went on. He saw opportunity in what everyone else dismissed as literal junk. Today, he makes over $700,000 a year, has almost no competition, and loves his job. He says, find a very profitable market niche. Otherwise, you can beat your brains out if everybody else is doing the same thing. He found a place to compete with no dogfight. The key is combining this niche search with genuine passion. If you can find a unique business you truly love, your success odds skyrocket. Your work becomes joy, and that passion translates into the energy and creativity needed to win. But even with the right vocation, challenges come, and that requires another key component of the millionaire mind: courage. Almost all self-made millionaires have courage. The courage to be self-employed, invest in their own business, take financial risks when others freeze up in fear. But what is courage exactly? It's not the absence of fear. Dr. Stanley makes this crystal clear. Every successful entrepreneur he interviewed admitted to feeling fear. Courage is acting despite fear. The millionaires in the study developed techniques for managing fear. The number one method? Hard work and preparation. They do their homework. They study the odds. They plan meticulously. They replace fear with knowledge. They also believe in themselves. They visualize success. And for nearly 4 in 10, they draw strength from strong religious faith. What about risk? There's a powerful, direct connection between willingness to take financial risk and net worth. The wealthiest people take the biggest risks. But this isn't gambling. In fact, there's a strong negative correlation between wealth and playing the lottery. The richer you are, the less likely you play. Why? Because millionaires understand probability. They know the lottery has terrible odds, designed for you to lose. They take calculated risks where they have some control or expertise. The biggest risk? investing in themselves and their own businesses. They believe, as one said, that the real risk is letting someone else control your career. When you work for a large company, your fate can be decided by executives in a boardroom you'll never see. When you own your business, you control your own destiny. Finally, how do these people actually live? We've covered their mindset, education, careers, but what about daily life? They run what Dr. Stanley calls an economically productive household. This is where the famous stories from the Millionaire Next Door come alive. 70% regularly have their shoes resoled and repaired. Nearly half reupholster or refinish furniture instead of buying new. They use shopping lists. They buy in bulk at warehouse stores. Again, this isn't about being cheap, it's about being smart. They understand the difference between consumption and investment. A new sofa might look nice, but it loses value the moment it leaves the store. A high-quality antique can be used for decades and might even appreciate. They're not first cost sensitive, they're life cycle cost sensitive. They think long-term. They apply this same logic to their biggest purchase, their home. The average millionaire lives in a home worth far less than what they could afford. They don't see their home primarily as a status symbol, but as an investment and a place to raise their family. That's why they overwhelmingly buy existing homes in well-established neighborhoods with excellent public schools. Why? Because these neighborhoods have proven track records of appreciating in value. It's a much safer, smarter investment than building a massive custom dream home in a brand new, unproven subdivision. Only 27% of millionaires ever had a custom home built. They know building is time-consuming, expensive, and risky. As one millionaire said, it's better to buy out of existing inventory. What about their lifestyle? What do they do for fun? If you followed a millionaire around for a month, you might be surprised. The most frequent activities reported: socializing with children and grandchildren, entertaining close friends, and planning investments. They are, as Dr. Stanley puts it, a cheap date. Their lives revolve around family, friends, and financial planning. They visit museums, stay active in their communities, raise funds for charity. You're more likely to find them at their kids' soccer game than on a yacht in Monaco. In fact, over 12 months, the #1 activity reported was consulting with a tax expert. That tells you everything about their focus. Their lifestyle isn't a substitute for wealth building. It complements it. Entertaining friends leads to business contacts. Raising charity funds builds a reputation for integrity and connects them with other successful people. It's all part of a cohesive, purposeful life. So when you put it all together, the focus on character, the surprising unimportance of grades, the search for unique vocations, the courage to take calculated risks, and a lifestyle of discipline and purpose, you get a clear picture of the millionaire mind. It's not about being born wealthy. It's not about being a genius. It's about thinking differently from the crowd. It's about realizing the path to true wealth isn't paved with gold, but with integrity, discipline, and the courage to build life on your own terms. As we step back and look at the portrait Dr. Stanley has painted, what's the most powerful takeaway from the millionaire mind? For me, it's this profound sense of empowerment. The message of this book is that financial success isn't some destiny reserved for a chosen few. It's not about genetics, luck, or which school you attended. It's the result of a specific mindset and deliberate choices available to anyone willing to adopt them. In a world obsessed with outward symbols of success, flashy cars, designer clothes, extravagant vacations, this book is a refreshing and deeply important reminder that true wealth is built from the inside out. It starts with your character. Are you honest? Disciplined? Do you treat people well? These aren't just moral questions. Drive. Stanley's research proves they're fundamental economic questions, too. The most liberating idea for any young person hearing this: the de-emphasis on academic perfection. How many of us have stressed over a single grade or felt our future was defined by a test score? This book tells us that while education matters, your GPA isn't your destiny. Your creativity, work ethic, courage, and ability to connect with others will carry you far further than a perfect report card. The world needs more than good test takers. It needs creative problem solvers, tenacious entrepreneurs, and inspiring leaders. So how can you start cultivating a millionaire mind right now? Here are 3 simple, practical actions you can take today. First, redefine your idea of success for 1 week. Instead of thinking about money or achievements, focus entirely on those 5 pillars. At the end of each day, ask yourself, was I honest in all my interactions? Was I disciplined with my time and energy? Did I treat people with respect and kindness? Did I support people I care about? Did I work hard on things that matter? Making these virtues your compass will, over time, lead you to the right opportunities. Second, start thinking like a niche finder. Instead of asking, what job pays the most, or what's the most popular career, start asking different questions. What problem do I see that nobody's solving well? What unique skill or passion do I have that I could apply in a new way? Where's the dogfight in my field of interest? And how can I avoid it? Train your mind to see opportunities hidden in plain sight, often disguised as junk or boring businesses. Third, conduct a simple lifestyle audit. For the next 7 days, pay close attention to where your time and money go. How much gets spent on things that lose value versus things that grow in value, like a book, a course, a small investment in a business idea, or quality time with a mentor? The goal isn't to stop having fun. The goal is becoming conscious of your choices. The millionaire mind is, above all, a conscious mind. It doesn't drift through life. It navigates with intention. Ultimately, the journey described in the Millionaire Mind is about more than accumulating a 7-figure net worth. It's about building a life of independence, integrity, and meaning. It's about owning yourself, not just owning assets. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you built your success on a foundation of solid character, and that's a fortune nobody can ever take away. We've journeyed through the core ideas of the Millionaire Mind today, but honestly, a map is never the same as the territory. We hit the highlights, but a summary can only take you so far. The real magic happens when you read the book yourself. It's in those quiet moments when a particular story or simple phrase hits you unexpectedly. This summary is designed to help you decide if this book deserves your time. If anything we talked about today resonated with you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just learning. It's an experience that can genuinely change how you see yourself, your potential, and the path to a truly rich life. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable and want to keep exploring ideas that shape the world's most successful people, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.